Today, the Democrats' fuzzy math. Joe Biden's $3.5 trillion spending bill actually costs $0, and many people will believe that since they had that Common Core math. At least 12,000 Haitian illegals released into the United States. Did I mention at least that many? And Joe Biden gets his booster shot and answers the question, when can we finally get back to normal? I have to warn you, you are not going to like the answer. And neither are the gentlemen at this table. We have got a lot of headlines coming up, and it all starts right now. Hey, welcome to the news and why it matters. Happy Monday, or is it? I don't know. I'll let you decide after the show. I am Sarah Gonzalez, today joined by two of your favorites. We've got BlazeTV contributors, both Jaco Booyens, host of the Jaco Booyens Show, and Eric July, host of For Cannon's Sake, also known as Young Ripa 5'9". No, that's not me trying to cater to the black man. That's just his name. No, I get those people that say that. Yeah. They're like, oh, she's trying to sound urban.
No. Does your mom call you Young Ripper?
No, I don't think she's ever called
me. Not yet. No, Mama's going to keep it real.
Not yet.
She's going to keep it 100.
She gave him the damn name. Yeah. She's going to call him Eric. That's what I would do. I don't care what they call you on the internet. I gave you your name.
Eric.
This is what it is. All right, so it should be a fun one today. Let's get into this spending bill first. This is incredible, the math that the Democrats have learned how to do from going to all of these public schools and getting Common Core math taught to them. We've talked about it on the show last week. It is a $3.5 trillion spending package. It includes, tons of social justice warrior ideals. And the Democrats, despite this, like I said, $3.5 trillion price tag, they are here to tell you it actually costs $0. It's just magic. It's magic like that. Joe Biden tweeted out, "My Build Back Better agenda costs $0. Instead of wasting money on tax breaks, loopholes, and tax evasion for big corporations and the wealthy, we can make a once-in-a-generation investment in working America." And it adds $0 to the national debt. It will be paid for, they say, by ending failed special tax giveaways for the richest taxpayers and big corporations, adding nothing to the debt, which is incredible because that seems to be how they pay for literally everything, is what they say. Well, the rich just needs to pay their fair share. Well, if the rich only pays their fair share, then this will all be paid for. And I still have a little bit of a problem with how this math doesn't add up.
Look, this is literally how Satan works. Okay? Yes, I just did equate the person who's posing as the president of the United States to the work of Satan. It's a lot of truth with a lot of spin. It's not all, it costs $0, right? Because it's going to be just paid for, yes, by the taxpayer, right? You want to go to 60% tax? You want to go Canada? Go look at Canada for a minute, okay? And nothing is free. Show me one thing that's free, a single thing, just a sandwich, something. Somebody is paying, right? It's free. But Joe thinks it's free because it's paper. It's just paper, and that's how they're treating our economy. Cut a tree, make paper, print money. It's free. It's just easy. This is easy. I can do this all day long. He's like, dang, I can be president. Yeah. This is fun. Let's go buy an island. We'll just print some money, right? I mean, come on. Taxpayer, watch out, 60%. Canada, hello.
Yeah, and let me just add to this conversation, Eric, before I get your thoughts. The proposed tax increase that they are putting into this. None of these figures include the full context of the bill, which is, there are entitlement phase-outs and phase-ins. So there are some third-party unbiased agencies that are estimating it to be at like $5 trillion or even more than that, not the $3.5 trillion. And the Congress's Joint Committee on Taxation says the bill raises $2.1 trillion over $2.1 trillion over 10 years. And among the tax hikes are a 5.5 percentage point increase in corporate income tax rate that will be paid, of course, by workers in lower wages, consumers in higher prices, and investors in lower returns. Because as it turns out, people who own companies aren't just going to eat that cost themselves themselves.
That's right.
It's so much economically illiterate bullcrap that happens around, like, that people don't seem to understand, like, where the money's coming from and how this government spends, certainly, its money. Now, I think it's insane. I mean, this is what happens when you have a bunch of Keynesians working for you, is that you get a bunch of weirdos who say, okay, here's the arbitrary number of how much we're going to spend over the course of the next year. Now, I want everybody to just take a step back and think about how, I almost used a word that I don't think I can use on this show, but how silly that actually is. You can't predict when you're going to use the damn restroom, let alone how much money you're going to spend in the next year. It is literally impossible. The government does it every single year. And of course, they're going to deficit spend. That's what's going to happen with this. They're going to say, oh, well, we didn't get enough tax money. Therefore, we're probably going to be $2 trillion, under or over, depending on how you look at it, in terms of their budgeting. So they can't predict it in the first place. They're going to, because that's impossible, they're going to inevitably miss. And it's not like they're going to underspend. When does this government ever do that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the fact that they sell this lies to the American people, and I'm willing to bet there are going to be some silly, maybe college-age people that are going to repeat that rhetoric and say it costs nothing. We're just going to tax the rich people, which already pay the majority of the income taxation in this country right now. Don't take my word for it. Actually, go look it up. Mm-hmm. Instead of just hearing the buzz terms that the Bidens of the world use.
They need to pay their fair
Bernie
share.
Sanders, fair share. They hear all of this nonsense when they already pay the vast majority of it. Do they also dodge it? When they can, of course they do. You also do it too. Ain't no man coming down throughout April that's like, yeah, I'm going to give the government more money than what they think that I owe them. So they sell this lie to the American public. A lot of people buy it. Then your money gets devalued, as they alluded to. That's what's going to end up happening. Even if they do end up successfully raising taxes somewhere, rich folks aren't going to eat the cost. It's going to go back on you. You're going to pay for it by way of goods or something else. But more importantly, what we're talking about with this reckless spending is what's going on in the future, and really in the current and near future, to be really honest, because your money is currently being devalued because they're printing it and because they're spending in the way that they are and monetizing their debt. And then folks wonder, why does X good cost so much right now? It's going to go down. It's only temporary, they say.
Right.
Now you're going to see
and then it's permanent.
Well, you did save the 16 cents on your barbecue.
That's right. It's amazing. You're going to see, and maybe we get that grace again Thanksgiving this year, save another 16 cents.
I can't wait to hear this.
Hyperinflation, it has to happen, right? Because it's going to be passed down to the customer.
Right.
So now your $8 burger is a $15 burger. Your $8 an hour job is now someone who wants $25 an hour, right? You're pushing the country
and by the way, is replaced
socialism.
by automation and stuff.
100% automation or China. Let's just go to China. It's more China. And it's not sustainable. There's not enough wealth in our country with individuals to pay this down. May we be reminded, this is not Monopoly. You don't close the box and the next game you start at zero, okay?
Not how it works.
We have had a deficit forever. Yeah. We haven't balanced the U.S. budget in forever. Yeah. They blame Trump for being a spender. You better not blink twice, okay? Well, now we're starting to talk $5 trillion.
They keep outdoing each other.
Trillion dollars.
And President Trump's spending
he
was a problem.
And then Biden's worse, but that's how it always happens.
We have no party that's going to protect.
About it's not going to cost us anything. Joe, we're so far behind. You can't see the finish line, okay?
$30 trillion worth of debt.
So it's cost zero. It's been costing. Our great-great-great-grandchildren, you've now spent their lunch money. I mean, what are we talking about it costs now? This is literally the definition of insanity.
Yeah.
It's insanity.
It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I know, look, I don't want to get this video kicked off of YouTube, so I'll just say this. We all know that Joe Biden is obviously the most popular president of all time. 81 million votes, all right? Fortifying the election, which you tend to do when you have a very popular person that you're trying to elect. So there are already people who I think are already like, how do we win again, right? So add on to that, compound that with the fact that if you get enough of these people on these entitlements, which I know is all part of the plan, the master plan here, if you get enough of these people on these entitlements, they will never vote for the party who is trying to get rid of them. So how close are we to the point of no return here?
I'll tell you why we're there. It's because the Republican Party is chicken crap, for lack of better terms.
Yes.
Because like you just saw with the NDAA, they have no problem spending recklessly. Money's going elsewhere. It's like, all right, pass it right now. We'll figure out what else is in it. They gaslight you and they act as if you're an evil person if you say you're against it because, well, this buried in the bill is this $1 million that we're spending on this. You must not want them to get money. And I would argue, no, I don't want them to get the money as far as I'm concerned. But on a serious note, because you got chicken crap Republicans who do nothing but conserve whatever the Democrats recently passed anyway, that's why this can gets perpetually kicked down the road, because they don't got enough gonads to say, you know what, this has to stop. We're spending recklessly money that is not ours, by way of stealing from the current generation, but more importantly, you're stealing from future generations by monetizing all of this debt. If the Republican Party decided tomorrow, and there's a lot of them that come on the channel and talk big game, right? They'll come here and talk to BlazeTV, talk a great game. And then you go look at their voting record and they doing the same crap. There's one guy with an eye patch that does that crap that gets on my last freaking nerve.
Who voted in favor of red
flag laws associated with the NDA.
Listen, I was on a stage with that individual recently, and so let me tell you this: if we look at this last bill that was passed, it's the GOP that passed a bill without reading the bill. We're passing a bill of trillions of dollars without reading the bill, and then the excuse is, well, it's a 1,000-page document. Look, if Buttrell can read a 1,000-page document for Glenn Beck to do a show, then sure as heck we should be able to have our servants, the government, our servants.
I would argue that even speaks to a larger issue. Like, why? Okay, if you don't have time to read it, what the hell are you passing it for?
Right, exactly.
Why would you even pass something that you have? I know the great Ron Paul had been making that point for I don't know how long. Like, y'all don't even have time to read it. Yet you pass it anyway. And then we're supposed to look at that 30, it's funny, I used to say $20 trillion. And that wasn't that long ago. No. And now we're at $30 trillion.
We just added 10.
Yes, we just added 10.
Wait a minute, we're adding another 5 here this week.
It's going to be probably 30, 35 very soon. Yeah. But we look at that number and then everybody is like, well, how could it have got this way? And then you get all these weirdo Republicans who campaign like libertarians and then they govern like Democrats. No. They need to be addressed. They need to, like on a serious note, I know we like, well, we got to support them because if we don't, the Democrats win.
We can't let a Democrat come in.
We can't let the Democrats win either way. Yeah. Look at them, how they're spending. The Democrats win either way. At some point in time, you guys have to address that problem. And it's coming from the GOP. We talk about the reason bill.
But my concern is, right, and again, if you took the vaccine, amazing, more power to you, but you can't make me take it. But how easily we line up for the slaughter in this country. Not just the vaccine, but the $1 trillion of spending, or the person you voted into office that now just goes rogue, that lied to you in the campaign, and there's no accountability.
That's true.
The American people don't hold anybody accountable for anything. Heck, we just gave the Taliban was there really a big pushback? Kind of, sort of, but not what it should have been. You thought January 6th was bad. Okay, what should have happened is we should have removed people from office for allowing that to happen. But you missed one of the accolades of the imposter, right? So let's give him all his accolades. He was also more popular than Barack Obama under the black community. Mm-hmm. He is so popular, he got more black votes than Barack Obama.
It's incredible.
Okay? It's incredible.
Impressive,
Don't forget that.
Every time you hear the man speak, don't you just go, gosh, now I remember why he was so popular. He's just so good at this. Speaking of President Pudding Brain in Chief, we do have him coming up later on in the program. You can hear from him on what we need to do to return to normalcy. Man. Eric's laughing because he already knows his. Did your head explode when you heard it?
Oh yeah, it absolutely exploded.
Mine did too.
You know, Eric writes like legitimate comic books, right? Yeah. Dude, you got a lot of content.
Oh man. This year's been very influential.
One of your characters better be the Joe character. There's got to be one.
And he'll be a villain, that's for damn sure.
No kidding. All right, we've got more to come. First, I want to thank our sponsor, Omega XL. So if you are an American who just lives in pain, maybe you've reached the age where things just hurt all the time. Maybe you've had a car accident, something like that, where you just got some neck pain, back pain, knee pain, whatever it is. What you don't realize is the underlying cause is probably inflammation. That is what is at the root cause of your pain. Now, Omega XL is backed by 35 years of clinical research, and it actually attacks the inflammation that is causing your pain. So if you are grabbing a topical rub and you are rubbing it on, like, oh my gosh, my shoulder hurts, I'm gonna rub this topical cream on it. Wow, that feels so great for 10 minutes, and then you're back in pain again. Don't do that. Use Omega XL. It will neutralize that inflammation and get rid of your pain for good. Now, it is made from it is an essential fatty acid combination made from the waters of New Zealand. It is the real deal. There have been so many people out there who have been helped by it. If you're in pain, let me just tell you, Omega XL can change your life. I truly mean that. You can order Omega XL now. Get a second bottle for free over at omegaxl.com/news. That is omegaxl.com/news. All right, we were going to get into something else, but I think we should let's just talk about this Biden booster shot now. No better time than now. So Joe Biden received his booster shot of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine today at the White House. This is, of course, right after the FDA approved the third dose only for Americans over 65 and those with underlying health conditions, frontline workers at higher risk of exposure to coronavirus. And it's interesting. He takes the shot, which I find fascinating that we've now made it breaking news. We're going to interrupt your programming to watch someone get a needle injected into their arm.
Man.
It is so crazy.
One of the most bizarre things to happen of this whole ordeal.
I'm telling you,
it's
mark of the
normalizing
beast.
that.
This is how it's going to happen.
It is.
It's almost like it's a cult.
Almost like it.
It is a cult. Hold
on.
What are we talking about?
So you mean to tell me you think that getting not one, not two, but 3 shots while continuing to wear a mask and tell us that the shot works if your dumbass would just get it.
No, but it really does work.
It really works so much.
We all get it, because the vaccine is as intelligent as the virus.
Yes, it really works so much that you have to keep wearing your mask while getting your third dose. You mean to tell me you think that that's cult-like behavior?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's almost like symbolism, isn't it? Like, 'cause it's like, I don't know. It's almost like, I don't know if it's a placebo or whatever it is that he's taking. I have no idea, but it's bizarre that we have come to a point to where that's normal. You see people taking vaccine selfies. Look, man, that's weird, dude.
That's mental illness.
That's weird.
No,
yeah,
it's mental
it's like,
illness.
could you imagine
We got your virtue signal.
Not even 2 years ago. Could you imagine 2 years ago, before this, when people would just line up and just start taking pictures of themselves getting jabbed? You'd be like, yeah, I don't need to know your medical information like that. That's not required. But you're right, and you spoke to this point. I saw definitely in your post on it. Like, imagine the mixed signals that you send to people, and they wonder why people are hesitant, as they say.
Right.
When you don't return to any sort of normalcy, despite getting it,
Yes.
you know what I mean? And
But you're the dumb one because you don't think it works.
Because we don't think it works. It's like you're telling me that it doesn't work like you at least have said that it works, because you're continuing to do the same bull crap that you said would stop if you got it. None of this makes sense. Like, by the way, I know we're expressing this and we're giggling here, but this, you want to talk about insanity? What is this? None of this makes sense. Like, it legitimately is illogical. Dr. Rochelle Walensky said in April, they can't pass it. If you get the jab, whoops, wait. Yeah, you can. You can't.
Right.
And they're still running with this.
You can pass it. You can get it.
Vaccinated.
You can still end up in the hospital.
The vaccination. It's the pandemic of the unvaccinated.
Yes.
That's what he said a couple of weeks ago, and he promised us he was going to get the booster, and he'll probably get boosters for the rest of his life, right?
Well, I mean, if the
until something
CDC
else
says
happens.
you need to get your 65th booster,
Yeah, he's going to get
go
it.
get your 65th booster, you big dummy.
Because
all
otherwise
right?
the
What are you
vaccine
doing?
doesn't work. You know,
Right.
it needs all its cousins, to
Of course,
function.
Of course.
Needs,
So let me, as we're speaking of people that, as we're speaking of things that don't make sense, let's listen to Joe Biden himself, because he is asked, he gets his little Fauci ouchie, and then he is asked what we need to do to return to normal, and he gives a percentage that we need to be vaccinated, he claims. And I'm just going to let you guys just please be sitting, and please don't throw anything at your computer or your TV, because we want you to catch this program every single day. All right, watch.
We have plenty of opportunities to make sure we get everyone in the world to play our part, the largest part in the world, of getting everyone vaccinated.
How many Americans need to be vaccinated first to go back to normal? Like, what is the percentage?
What is the percentage that needs to be vaccinated?
Vaccinations that have to be deployed?
Well, I think, look, I think we get the vast majority, like is going on in some industries and some schools, 97, 98%.
Oh.
I think we're going awful close. And, but I'm not the scientist. I think, but one thing for certain, a quarter of the country can't go unvaccinated.
So if you didn't
Watch
catch
this.
that, if you hold on. If you didn't catch that because he had a
Diaper.
freaking mask on his face and you
Diaper.
can't freaking understand people when they're he said we need the vast majority to be vaccinated. Like in certain industries, I think 97 or 98%, certainly a quarter. We cannot have a quarter of people go unvaccinated. Really? What are you going to do?
Yeah, exactly. Come
What are you
here.
gonna do?
Come here. Come.
What are you going to do?
Come make me.
I'm waiting.
Please
Right.
come make me.
Please.
I told you, call 911 before you come. Call your own ambulance, okay? Come make me. Right? A quarter. Interesting number, right? If you look at how many vote in a presidential election, and then you come down to the quarter that's sane, it's holding the fort, at least, and saying, hey, I mean, kind of rough, it's close, you know, so there's some sanity left in this country, and it's never been, it's never been the majority that stands up for a revolution. But I'm just going to tell you, I'm going to throw that word out here. It is time to start talking about take back, whatever that looks like. It's time. And either we're going to be like the politicians, with no spine, all talk, no action. And by the way, for the people who watch this show, some of you trolls down in the bottom that says, oh, you guys just talk. You have no idea what we do away from this table, okay? No idea.
That's very true.
All right?
Yeah.
You have no idea. I challenge you to do the same, okay? I would be so happy if you would do something. Those trolls, all right? Maybe you need to be moved over to CNN. Go to Communist News Network. But no, it is going. Sarah, we said it 1,000 times with broken records. Until the people say enough, it will not be enough.
Yeah.
This is a freight train going downhill with no conductor, okay? Full steam ahead. And they're going to run this country into socialism in front of our very eyes, not even behind us anymore. It's not even hoodwinking anymore. It's like, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to you. I'm going to steal and rob you blind, okay? And I'm going to tell you it's for your benefit.
Yep.
It's just so interesting to me. You have to wonder, though, if maybe there are a certain amount of Biden voters who, I mean, I know, with Afghanistan and all of the oil and gas workers that had to be laid off because of his policies and all of these things that have happened in the last, 9 or so months since he has been president. You have to wonder if even the people who were still with him, okay, we know that that there was a good chunk of Americans who have had this virus, who have natural immunity, and still he is not willing to talk about it. He is not willing to bring it up, natural immunity. All he wants to talk about is vaccinated. You have to wonder, there have to be a few Biden voters who go, well, hold on a second. I mean, I'll get the vaccine if I feel like I need it, but I just had the virus. I shouldn't be forced to be vaccinated.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have buyer's remorse. You've seen the numbers, especially coming from black folk, and they're having among the lowest vaccination rates. I think a lot of people, well, he would think, or he would say that the black and brown people that can't get their IDs, of course, they don't know where to get these vaccinations, and that's why, of course,
We
there's
don't
a
know
low
how to
rate.
use the computer.
Exactly.
Okay.
When, of course, that is not the case. This is something that they have made it abundantly clear that they are not for, but they keep pressing the issue. And, of course, this is starting to obviously impact people's jobs and their livelihoods, and people see that. People are very aware of that situation. So, that number that he throws out there is just him telling you that as long as they can get away with it, they will. Because that number is impossible, right? That's just not going to happen. 97, 98% of people are not going to be vaccinated.
But
it's
again, nor
indicative,
should it. And nor should it. When you consider other factors like natural immunity.
Are you kidding me? I mean, my antibodies are off the chart, okay?
Yeah.
But it's indicative, though. In order to truly move a country into radical socialism where they want it, you need 90+% to comply. You can't, if there's a reasonably strong resistance, right? It's just too risky.
Yeah.
It's just too risky. And so therefore, the way you hold the fort in this country is you say no. Because they can get us to the cliff, but let's save it from falling off, because there is a tipping point. There is a place where they have mind manipulated and contorted enough where they now can go, okay, just drop the hammer.
Yeah.
Let's just go grow government insane. Let's just go, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully you're still with us. Your head didn't explode. We've got more to come after the break. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Prayer Bowls. So these, you have got to go. I want to tell you about Prayer Bowls, but I want to tell you as I'm talking about them, you've got to go to the website and check these out and really look at them because they are the most beautiful bowls, and they are so great because, for those of us who pray, we hear prayer requests all the time. You're at church, on social media, through email, and, oftentimes you stop and you pray for the person at that time, but then you forget, you go back on with your daily routine, and you don't remember who was it that I said that I was going to pray for? I want to do it again and I can't remember. So that is what Prayer Bowl is for. It is a very unique, handcrafted, they've got ceramic bowls, they've got wooden bowls that really you have your daily prayer cards. You can write in your prayer card, write the name of the person you intend to pray for, and collect them in your prayer bowl. And then when you have time for your meditation, time for your prayer, you can be reminded of all of those people in your prayer bowl. It also makes a wonderful, wonderful decor piece. I have the Alexis. It's this really beautiful turquoise bowl. It just looks gorgeous in the house. They're made by hand in the USA and Portugal and also Poland. So I very, very highly encourage you guys to go check them out. You are going to find that they are gorgeous. They've got all different kinds and designs. They've got one for you. You got to go to prayerbowls.com. If you order today with the offer code NEWS, you will get a set of scripture cards for free over at prayerbowls.com. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas admitted yesterday that as many as 12,000 Haitian migrants who recently entered the United States illegally have been released into the United States, not repatriated into their home country. But I said 12,000. It actually could be more than that, according to him. Watch.
Of the 17,400 that weren't deported back or didn't return on their own to Mexico, how many of them first, how many have been released into the U.S.?
They're released on conditions,
Yes.
and approximately, I think it's about 10,000 or so, 12,000.
Have been released?
Yes.
And of the 5,000 that are still in process?
We will make determinations whether they will be returned to Haiti based on our public health and public interest authorities.
So are we talking about a total of 12,000, or could it be even higher?
It could be even higher.
You know how you knew that? Because he said 10,000,
Then he said
12,000,
12 out of nowhere?
to 14,000,
So
25,000, I don't know.
The two words you need to add is so far.
Yeah.
So far. And we'll be at the border here in a couple of days. And look, what I want Mr. Mayorkas to tell the American public is how many of his agents are quitting. How many, while you're importing illegals, how many of your DHS people are quitting their jobs because you're forcing them to get what they call a vaccine, right? Which is an experimental, which, by the way, the patent was out in 2003, 2005, 2007. They just skipped the clinical trial on the animals and said, let's just go straight to people and see how many people will die, right? But Mayorkas is not talking about that. Or the fact that today I spoke to a very high-level official at DHS that they can only retain the services of 1 out of 100 people that are being offered jobs.
I mean,
to
that's
work
not
on
shocking.
the border, right?
Who would want to go work in a thankless job where the president's going to throw them under the bus?
We're told the border's closed, Sarah. There's no one protecting the border. The lone ranger on the horse who whipped nobody, right? We better pay him 5x and ask him to stay on the horse, because nobody is going to the border. This is a catastrophe, and we see what's happening. Rape, crime, rampant, right?
Yeah. Well, you also brought up the fact that they're forcing, Border Patrol, all of these federal agencies to get the vaccine. And I mean, I hate to go back to the vaccine, but I will, just to give some perspective here.
It's important.
These migrants, Mayorkas also admitted they are not testing them. They are not forcing the vaccines on them. They are releasing them into the United States population without verification that they do not have COVID-19. So while you, as an American citizen, are subjected to all of these rules and regulations, and you better get vaccinated, by God, or we will make you, The illegal immigrants shoot, leave your home, walk across the border, come in that way, and maybe they'll finally leave you the hell alone about getting a damn vaccine.
Yeah, that was the angle that I'm going to take. I mean, look, I don't care where you're at on the subject of immigration. You know your money is being subsidized, what he's talking about, or rather it's being spent when he talks about these conditions. You know what the conditions are, man. There's a resettlement program that exists for a reason. So you're paying for it one way or another.
More ways than we can imagine.
Exactly. So you look at that, and then Sarah brings up a great point, specifically the federal government, who is, of course, in charge of this entire operation, or lack thereof, whatever you want to call it. They have all of these rules that they are not only setting for themselves, but you have now Biden trying to, of course, enforce this on private businesses, really, in the entire country. And they're playing by a different set of rules. So your money is being used to then pay for, subsidize, basically the relocation of these migrants. And they play by a completely different set of rules. That would make anybody feel like crap, or rather it should. Mm-hmm. As I hate to, be a downer here, the reality here is that looking at it now, well, they're going to get away with it. So it's jacked up. This is a screwed up situation. We could point out the hypocrisy all day. And I'm not saying that as like a black pill moment. I'm just saying this so you can acknowledge the reality so you can do something about it. They're going to get away with it. Mm. They're absolutely going to get away with it, much like they've gotten away with this whole COVID experiment, I guess, which they've been largely successful in being able to dupe the populace to do whatever the hell it is they want. And they can just yell squirrel while they're doing something that is blatantly hypocritical. We can point it out all day long, and there's a stupid person, unfortunately, that gets to vote that says, well...
I want more of that. Give me some more of that.
Exactly.
It's a wealth transfer program is what COVID is. It's a wealth and a power transfer program is what it is. It's all about the money. Go look at the gains. Go look at the gains at the big tech in the pharmaceutical company. Go look at the gains.
20 billion, right?
Yeah. I do also want to bring up one other aspect of this, which was brought to social media's attention anyway by Laura Logan, which is that the drug cartels are profiting off of all of this Border Patrol nonsense that the White House is coming out with. So she tweeted out, according to law enforcement in Rio Grande Valley, Texas, Border Patrol agents advised that the latest intel from cartels. After Biden's response to the horse patrol, cartels ordered their smugglers to force Border Patrol to react and appear to use excessive force and record. Cartels will push to media to force more agents off of the line so that when they are not there, they can then do what they do, which is nothing good.
Yeah, this is literally sending a telegraph saying, hey, we're going to attack you Monday at 2 p.m. Mm-hmm. This is the weapons we use, and this is our tactic. So why don't you come play us? And we're being played by the cartel. I'm going to tell you today, hear me today. I don't have proof, but we're going to get it. The Mexican president sits somewhere at the top of that money tree because you can't. You can't, as a neighbor of the U.S., let this happen on your side of the border. That 50 miles is controlled by the cartel, okay? And he's just saying, it's encouraged almost. There's so many pipers being paid at this moment, and it runs all the way up our tree and all the way up that tree because these guys are all connected. Just look at the new companies that's being formed between Gates and Soros for the vaccine, for the booster shot, and for the testing companies that they now own for testing in the future. Why is Soros and Gates teaming up on owning, the new PCR testing, facilities? Come on, this is a money program, right? And so shame on every American, not who took the jab, that buy into this rhetoric and prolong it. Like the few Californians, and I won't get us kicked off YouTube, but the few Californians that voted for Newsom again, because I don't think many did, but okay. The few that voted for him again, shame on them to say, no, I want some more of that poison, please.
Yeah. But you know what? You mentioned Newsom. Let's get into to the latest, one of the latest laws that he signed after the break. First, I want to thank our sponsor, Built Bar, which I still have. So anytime you get a chance to try a Built Puff, you must do so. If you have ordered from Built Bar before, you're lucky because you are on their email list, which means you are going to get updates whenever they bring out a new flavor. So they have the puffs and then they sell out because people buy them like crazy because they're amazing. And then they'll restock them and they'll send out an email and say, hey, you got to get these Built Puffs. Trust me when I tell you, you have to get the Built Puffs. They're so delicious, but the regular bars are awesome too. They've got cookie dough, they've got coconut mint brownie, double chocolate, salted caramel, and if you're having trouble picking, you can get a mix box. You can get 2 of each of their regular flavors. Decide which one you like the best, and then load up your pantry with them. All right, Built Bar it's a protein bar, so it's healthy. It's going to have high protein, but it's going to be low calorie, 180 calories or less, low sugar, low carb, and you're going to feel like you're cheating on your diet. But you're not. All right, you got to go to built.com. Use promo code news15 to save 15% off of your order over at BUILT, built.com. So Gavin Newsom, Yaku brought up Gavin Newsom and the state of California. Well, maybe you were thinking, look, Gavin Newsom got reelected, but or didn't get recalled, but maybe this whole process has made the Democrats rethink their crazy positions. Not so. Apparently, Newsom just signed a bill. It is AB 1184, which will keep patient information confidential for patients who are not the primary policyholder for their health insurance, which means that this includes reproductive health care, so abortion care, baby killing care. So this includes baby killing care and gender affirming care, which means that children who want to get sex changes, who want to get abortions, and use their parents' health insurance for whatever they can actually use their health insurance for, may be able to do it without you knowing about it. Because you know what? What say should you have in your own children being raised? The government knows better.
The government is going to do what the government does, but looking at California, it's almost like where the country is heading. But accelerated. It's like it gets test everything.
That's the test subject.
Yeah, it's like like all those guys over there are the little subjects here, and then we see it kind of or attempting to be applied at a more national scale. But every day we seem to get a story, and it seems like they're hell bent on running it into the ground. And I say, unfortunately, let them. I mean, we have a lot of people that are behind enemy lines that have attempted to do everything they can to liberate that damn country or state, excuse me, which should be its own country.
Cut it off, float into the ocean.
But they have been rather unsuccessful because I think the loony people it's just too many of them. They're just really outnumbered, which is why I said I never say someone must run. But if you want to relocate to live or fight another day, if you're living in California, I can't say I blame you. There are a lot of alternatives certainly to that. But this is insane. You know what I mean? And the way that we're kind of moving the conversation with like the lack thereof, they don't even like the term parental rights or anything like that, because damn if you want to make a decision, that's your job as a parent. Certainly you can't do that. Or if your, 5-year-old thinks it's a boy, but they think they're a girl, that you're a bigot or being some homophobe or something because you say, no, you're not. Right. And we're not going to, cut stuff off in order to try to affirm that be the case. It's crazy. And it keeps continuing to get crazier. So I say let them do it. Now, they're able to get away with a lot of this because, unfortunately, a lot of people that are still there that value liberty are subsidizing those bad ideas. But I think that's one of the states that, of all, maybe top dog on the list of states it's a failed state. And I think we have to let it get ran into the ground. I think that's the only way these people learn. Maybe they won't even learn by then. Yeah. But at some point, why would you subsidize your own suffering? But I also can say that about states not California as well, to be fair.
Yeah, look, no, I agree with you in that sense. The only problem is we're a country of precedent now. We've lost law and order, right? So we know even the Supreme Court, they're not upholding the law. They're not defending the Constitution. They pick and choose winners or losers, what cases. It's all precedent. And the problem with Newsom and Newsom's ties, and I'm going to jump on the Soros wagon again, his ties with all these guys is all things evil to children, all things evil to life, in the womb, outside the womb, children, right? And true women's rights, this guy is the guinea pig for. He's the guy who raises his hands. He's the guy who signed State Bill 145 that changed what's called sexual agency, where the parent loses agency, and that's the term today. They want parents to lose agency over the child. Now he's writing a law here, or passing a bill that says, look, if the child gets medical care, the primary policyholder shouldn't even know. And it's in line. He's done this before. 3-year-old can get puberty blockers, and the parent can't do anything because Planned Parenthood will step in and do this. Or LA Children's Hospital. So you're going to see more of this. And this guy, I told you a couple weeks ago, is now going to be so bold because he thinks he's king of the castle. He must be loved. He must be liked. The narcissist side of him is coming out going, I can't do anything wrong. I can just drop the hammer. And I agree with you. Let him burn it to the ground. The problem is you got all these other minion governors, some in the red states, okay, who's sitting going, is Newsom going to get it through? Man, that's a way to get some willing people. And then they suck it into the red states. And we're seeing this kind of crap. When he passed 145, it was 2 weeks and it was in Austin. It was 2 weeks and it was in Austin, Texas, right? So from that perspective, it's really bad for the country because the other politicians, based on precedent, on standing for their people, they just go, oh, okay, he got away with it. So, yeah, we're not going to fight hard. It'll buy me some will for my office, for my job, for my future as a politician. And that's where I have a problem with. Otherwise, I say, throw some fence there. Let's build another wall. Build a different wall. But a wall between California and Arizona.
That speaks to the point of why the importance of like these decentralization efforts. You know what I mean? Because of exactly that. Like, even so, the fact that there are institutions or individuals or even groups of individuals, to be fair, that can pass such a thing is insane in the first place. Like I said, look, I know there's a lot of people watch this show, they scream 1776 and all of this sort of stuff, and it sounds really good, but your founders went to war for a lot less than whatever the hell is going on right now. I mean, we long crossed that bridge, man. We're in another stratosphere right now. They went to war for a lot less, but they do a lot of crazy stuff, and you're right. We know that, because it's a testing ground, people adopt it. They see it get passed somewhere else, and they're like, okay, well, we can make sure certainly that it happens. I think New York City is kind of like that as well, where it emboldens a lot of these areas. But that's the point. When I scream about decentralization, I'm looking at instances exactly like this as to why these institutions or organizations, or whether it be the alphabet, federal government agencies that are that powerful, Congress folk in Washington, D.C., completely out of the loop, why they can rule over us, it's a fundamental problem.
Yeah. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be back.
Newsom sucks. He sucks.
Hey, don't forget to go to wherever you get your podcasts when you listen to an audio podcast. Go there, type in the news and why it matters. Well, you don't have to type in the whole thing because we'll populate up once you start typing it. Click on it. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review the show. It helps more people be able to find the show. Make sure to give us 5 stars because we know we deserve no less than that. And also, if you write us a nice review, you may see your review read live on air, like the one today from Jonesy 2387, who says, great show. Sarah is amazing, informative, passionate, and, well, that's nice. I love the guests and what they bring to the discussion. The trifecta, Sarah, Eric, and Jakub Bujans. If you can, please tell me where I find Jako's show. I'm hungry for more. Thank you, and keep up the great work. 10 out of 10 would definitely recommend. Well, I don't want to speak for you, Jako, so where would you like to direct them to find your show? Most of the time, people just don't know how to spell your name.
Yeah,
but they actually spelled your name correctly.
J-A-C-O. Go to Instagram and go to Free Space. Instagram and Free Space. YouTube and I box. Instagram and Free Space.
Jakub Bujans, J-A-C-O. Find him there. Also, make sure to subscribe to Young Ripa 59 over on YouTube. Thanks, guys.